Relevant Rants. I think we're being relevant today, Alex.
I think
really
so,
do.
too.
I think as we're doing it, you and I always like to be here with you as our producer behind the screen, all the editing and things you do.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to have you on front of the screen because, Alex, you've got a gift, dude. You
Thank
really
you.
do. It's fun to talk to you, and I think we're making a big decision today
Yep.
to maybe switch sides here.
Yeah.
Maybe think about being a little more woke.
Yeah, we did a lot of research.
Yeah, and being possibly Democrats, leftists.
Yeah, I think that we need to kind of see both sides, and I think
Yeah.
the other side's pretty convincing.
Yeah, and I know, Mike, this might shock you, but yeah, here we go.
Yeah. So welcome to this episode of Relevant Rants.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. So we're going to be talking about how come Democrats are worried about Joe Biden. Maybe we should be too.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't have switched. Oops. Maybe
Yeah.
this was a little too early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we should be a little more educated
Maybe.
and listen to Joe himself. I think we got a
Absolutely.
video that just kind of
Absolutely.
explains this.
You trust the Taliban, Mr. President? You trust the Taliban, sir?
Is that a serious question?
It's absolutely a serious question. You trust the Taliban? You
No, I
trust
do
the
not.
country to the Taliban.
No, I do not trust the Taliban.
So why are you
Is the U.S. responsible for the
I love all the barrage of questions.
Mr. President, will you amplify that question, please? Will you amplify your answer?
We went for two reasons. One, to
The pause.
What did he just say?
He's not even present when he's present.
No, I hope our very poorly acted joke has been obvious now.
Kind of in retrospect. You
Um,
know, Alex, I just can't believe how the Democrats, how the left, how the woke think, even in their remotest mind, this guy is okay.
I mean, his approval rating is like just
It's a toilet.
yeah, it's in the toilet. Yeah, and I honestly, the majority of my liberal friends,
They can't defend this, can they?
they don't like him, and like they're what have you heard the term they're huffing copium? Like basically
I haven't
like
heard
they're
that.
coping super hard. That basically they're just like, well, I'm still liberal, but I really don't like the liberal that we have, and it's like,
You don't like Joe Biden.
yeah, you don't like him, but it's like you also realize it's a symptom of the rest of your party.
Yes, because the Republican Comer is revealing a list of aliases that Joe Biden used. Why do you use aliases?
For either spam email or if you're doing something pretty bad.
Or a criminal?
Yeah.
Or a scammer? It's just interesting on why you would have to use a alternate email if you're not worried about people knowing who you are. So they're demanding that the National Archives turn over unredacted records, and this is what they're worried about. Because what was the name of Joe, his email, that the one that they popped up first on?
Let me look at it real
Yeah.
quick.
I mean, it's during his 2 terms as vice president, Joe Biden used the email address robert.l.peters@pci.gov.
How do you get found out with that though? Because if that's an alias, how do you they must have traced it and we're like, oh.
It's like, it's James Joe Biden. Is he not proud of his name? His son is. His son takes videos with hookers and
Yeah.
doesn't try to hide his identity.
You know, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I know so many people that just use aliases for for great things, and I'm totally kidding. And I don't. It's ridiculous.
Well, it says that among other aliases, but as required by Federal Records Act, all government business is to be conducted and recorded under the official's actual name. That's like a rule.
That's law, isn't
But
it?
do Democrats follow rules?
No, of
Not
course they
that
don't.
I've heard of. I mean, this practice was widely used by somebody famous, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, when she had a private email server. And then what'd she do? She bleached.
She just nuked the whole thing.
and everybody's okay with it.
Yeah, and they're just like,
Took hammers and
that's
smashed the
fine.
phones.
You don't break things like that if there's anything like cool or like not illegal on it.
Then you even say that the election was stolen.
In
And you don't
2016,
get indicted like we just happened to our wonderful President
That's
Trump.
ridiculous.
I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. Hey, seriously, if you disagree with us, give us a very coherent. They need to be coherent response.
I think I've turned back to conservative, Tom.
Yes. Well, you know, Alex, I think we're going to talk about it today. That's getting to the point of good and evil.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you look at one group that stands for things that are just evil, and then somebody who stands for things that would make you better, you gotta go that. You can't even say it's political now. It's just like that's what it is.
The liberal of 20 years ago, where it was mostly just like we want people to have free things. Like even kind of in a pseudo socialist kind of thing, where that's really the only thing that they wanted is gone. It's dead and gone because there's so many people that, like, for example, Bill Maher, the party
I
left
like
him.
Bill Maher, and
Yeah.
and Mike would scream at me 2 years ago if I said that.
Yeah, and it's what the left has been doing now that's really alienating everybody. And I wonder if we're gonna see another red wave. That sounds communist. Never mind. A conservative wave. Because of what's going on with the Biden administration.
Well, I think if we are deciding on the existence of America as we've known it, and I know a lot of people want to burn it down because they think it's bad. We've talked about that enough now, and I think there's other good commentators, even people that are being honest on the other side, are talking about how, hey, this can't continue. It just can't. Is China and Russia teaching their children to hate their country?
No, absolutely not.
No, we're the only ones. No, so it is.
It's ridiculous.
So hey, there you go. But here we have Democrats admitting Hunter Biden did a lot of really awful, unlawful things.
I know. I thought it said awful too, and it's like,
Either one's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Unlawful or awful things. You think?
Exactly. I like. It also makes it sound like a child, like kind of justifying their actions, like, I didn't do anything bad, I just did some like unlawful things.
I think, as we've all had teenagers, and you're getting ready as you have a baby,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see the teenage years. I think as kids grow up, they may naturally disagree with their parents.
For sure.
But there's a article out there, and it talks about how Hunter Biden's business partners supplied Vladimir Putin's allies with armored vehicles to invade Ukraine. Isn't Joe Biden for Ukraine?
Supposedly.
And Hunter Biden's business partners are supplying vehicles and armored vehicles to the other side?
They're playing both sides, so they always stay on top.
Yeah. And then it's interesting that Hunter Biden's Russian business associate, hey, like you just said, he's playing both sides.
Oh, absolutely.
He's spreading his bet.
You can't lose if you're playing both.
It's like craps. You spread the bet.
Exactly. No,
You're
exactly.
gonna crap out at one point, but if you're betting on both horses, but I guess the new sanctions that have been issued out by the United States, some of Hunter Biden's business associates, Russian business associates, were spared those U.S. sanctions.
Interesting.
Isn't it? Shouldn't it just cover the whole group?
Yeah.
Except for people who do business with my son.
Well, no, I'll give them a bit of a benefit of a doubt again, because maybe they're just like the good guys in Russia,
Yeah.
Like there can be no other
Like a John
explanation.
Wayne in
yeah,
Russia?
like
I think Vladimir Putin would lock those people up.
I agree.
I think dissenters.
We're joking, by the way.
Well, I think Joe Biden has taken a play out of Vladimir Putin's playbook.
Absolutely.
Try to lock up your
opposition.
most prominent, popular political opponent. Joe Biden has joined a unique club now that only a few people, and part of the people in that club are Mussolini and Hitler and a few others.
I believe Trump even said that too when he made the quote about saying he'll lock Hillary up.
Yeah.
He decided not to because he didn't want to do that.
Yes.
Like, does she deserve it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if the president does it, that's
for doing the same thing
political opposition,
President
yeah.
Trump is being accused of doing with the January 6th.
Exactly.
Election fraud. And we're not going to play this for you, but you can go out and listen to montages after montages of all the leftist Democratic blowhards talking about the elections being stolen in 2016. It just not right.
Exactly.
And then you can't make right wrong. You're trying to, but you can't. You just can't. It's this is a subject that's dear to my heart, and we all feel this. I mean, just telling you, in the profession of the ministry, we feel this. I've been in the ministry 30 years, and people are losing their involvement with religion, and it's on a decline.
Yeah, we're seeing it in our church as well.
Now, I do believe this, because if you look out there of the statistics of people that say they're believers, there's a lot. But there's also a lot that's saying they're not. They're just saying my church attendance and church being relevant for me is down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their belief in a faith system. It's saying their attendance. And, and there's a article came out, and it says that middle-aged Americans aren't going back to church after the pandemic. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, the pandemic, I think the devil used that pandemic, and let's think about the people he used during the pandemic for the vaccine, the lockdowns, the masks, the no gathering togethers. Hey, just go out and figure out which group that was.
Exactly.
People aren't coming back. And I do believe it was the biggest tactic to shut down a religious system in America and probably all over the world.
I agree.
And the only one that I know that wants that to happen is
The left.
The devil and
Yeah.
the left.
Exactly. They're a little synonymous right now.
We could
They could change it. They could just be back to like regular leftists,
Well,
but
they
no.
could go back and just say, "Hey, I don't believe in God." That's okay, but not just tear the system down.
Exactly.
And that's a tactic. It's even talking about there's when pastors, something that gave pastors security is to look down across your congregation. If you had gray hairs and blue hairs, you felt pretty comfortable because they had money.
Exactly.
You did know that generation was passing away, and the inheritance would go to the kids, and they could decide how they spend it. But churches, are most exist based on charitable giving, and so they're saying that the gray-haired congregants are not sitting in the pews anymore, and they're not the safe bet anymore for pastors.
This is going to be something I didn't talk about you before the show, but do you think that there is a widespread issue with some churches where they're not challenging their congregation very much? It's very much like Jesus loves you, Jesus saves you, and then raise your hand if you want to be saved, and like that's the only thing that they keep repeating.
Yeah.
And they don't really develop their faith and make it deeper.
Something that I've always had a passion for is discipleship. And we see Jesus do it, and I think discipleship is preparing people to take over or continue on, because we're in succession plans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my generation, it's not hidden from anybody. In 8 months from now, I'll be leaving the ministry.
Yeah.
I am not retiring, but I'm still devoted to Christ. I'm just moving to Nashville to pick up where I've left off here.
Exactly.
And everybody knows it. And so when people, they look at me and I go, I came into the ministry because I was devoted to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm serving devoted to Christ. Now he's choosing to move me. We could talk about that on other shows on the method that God uses. But as I'm leaving, what are the complaints that I see and have about the church that we're looking at is the church has kind of gave up on maybe what you're saying, salvation, but not following up on it. We see Jesus take 11 guys and change the world. And we see that we haven't developed people to keep going out there. We're trying, but I think churches, and you can whack me around as much as you want because I've been in the religious institution, and I do believe that they compete with each other and they fight between each other.
There's a lot of quarreling, it seems like.
Denominationally.
Mm-hmm.
We're right, you're wrong.
Exactly. It's like Jesus is the only thing that matters.
And let's say, just get back to making disciples to go out and change the world. And I'm seeing this all over. I've shared this before. I went and it's a ministry I'm sinking into is people loving Nashville. I mean, they go and they do a great job. They bring in a collaboration of businesses, some secular, some a religious parachurch, to help homeless. And they're doing a sensational job all the way from getting them off the street, rehabilitated back in. I met so many of those. So Ryan and Jeb and the group out there, good job in People Loving Nashville. If you want to go out there and you're in the Nashville area, you can help every Monday night. They feed the homeless at the War Memorial building, the building in Nashville. So it just is. I mean, you and I talked about this. Are we losing a generation? You and Rachel represent that generation, I believe, Alex. I know Nathaniel and Nolani represent that. My daughters, Taylor and Tessa and Danny, my son-in-law, they represent that generation because you're still plugged in and you believe that you're where you're at to support a supportive role. And I think that's admirable because you're sitting there supporting your pastor that is maybe going through a seasonal change over with congregants.
Exactly.
Yep. So that happens. If you go through a succession plan, that happens. People change. It's okay. God will bring them. It's just,
Exactly.
I talked to too many pastors. I was just involved in a pastor's retreat where we do some ministering to pastors, senior pastors who have let the grind get them down, through depression, maybe through anxiety, through inadequacies, self-doubt, and we build them back up, and then they go back out to their congregations. I really love it. It's called Off the Mountain Wilderness Retreat, and so we do it with our local church here and my senior pastor, Ron Vietti. So as we're out there, you can't give up on a generation. My daughter in L.A. has changed churches because she got tired of hearing the pastors complain about this generation.
Yeah, that would be really infuriating.
She's looking down, probably like, if you hear it long enough, you're like, I'm here, I'm giving.
Yeah,
I'm serving.
I'm doing the things. Yeah, no, and I get it because it's like I take that back. I don't like the idea of blanket stating like this generation's bad or anything like that in particular. Like we always joke about okay boomer, like that kind of meme that went around like about a year ago or 2 years ago. But if you start alienating your like an entire generation of your congregation, and you're surprised that they're leaving,
yeah.
It's silly. And also I have a question for you.
That's where these articles come from.
So right now it seems like Christianity, or at least church attendance, is on the decline. But do you feel like because of the way the world is escalating with this like wave of evil, do you think it will be met with another wave of Christianity?
Well, the Bible says God raises the standard of righteousness to meet the standard of unrighteousness. Mm-hmm. And they've seen it through history. Go check history. Don't
exactly.
You can send me hate mail. You guys already do. And thank you for trolls for watching. Maybe
we love your comments. It won't get deleted.
Yeah, we're the type of people. I've got broad shoulders, and we can take it. So.
Oh, absolutely.
we kind of like it. Call Mike and us.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, very. Hey, you don't know how much you entertain us by sending us the comments that you do.
Oh, absolutely.
It's funny stuff. But I do believe that church has to become more relevant. When I say relevant, it's not to the people that walk through the doors, because that's obvious. And I tell people, and I believe in this wholeheartedly, and I speak it on all the time. I think people are becoming the new platform.
Oh, I 100% agree.
You've met Blake, who does one of our shows with us, Muscle Matters. I got into Blake's life a year ago. Never told him I was a pastor. Never told him what church I was at, and I feel that I shouldn't have to say that.
Exactly.
I should be able to live that. And so he walked through our church doors 2 weeks ago. And he's like, hey, I didn't know that what you did here, and you never invited me. And I go, why would I invite you to church if my life couldn't represent if I can't be a product of what I am part of, why would I want you to go?
Exactly.
And so that's why I say people are the new platform. People's lives are going to represent something, and other people are going to go, hey, I'm interested in that.
I wonder if that too, because like it seems like, and I think this might be a good thing, but I think that people are looking to be a part of church, not necessarily for the lead pastor. Like that might be a side, like a side thing that like where they can benefit from that. But I think it's the people getting the people in.
Well, I get it. There's a part of the. I see it with my children, and they're 27 and 25. They're tired of being lied to.
Oh,
And we just got
100%.
out of where the government's lying to us, the medical community's lying to us. You just can't believe tall politicians are lying to us. Pastors are lying to us just by their example. I mean, you just take you take Bill Hybels at Willow Creek. You can take Brian Houston at Hillsong, and then
Exactly.
the young pastor he had that fell, and it was, I mean, it just, the list goes on. Ravi Zacharias. I mean, all these were pillars, and they fell to, ethical ways and moral ways.
Mm-hmm.
And people then fixate on that. So I'm just like, hey, if you're out there representing the Christ, you need to get your act together.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying be
100%.
perfect, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, I won't represent that, but I mean, we're going to keep having articles like this. We really are. Here's something that really bothers me. Everybody will say, well, no, we're opening 4,000 new churches every year. And I say, yeah, but we're closing 7,000.
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't use Bidenomics and you use math, 7,000 minus 4,000 is what?
Negative 3,000.
Negative 3,000. That's correct math, Joe Biden. There again, I tell people when they talk to me about Bidenomics, they go, well, he saved, let's say I got I spent $1,000 last month for food that I didn't have, and the year before it was not that much, and this month I spent 900. They say, well, see, it went down. I go, no, I'm still negative.
Exactly.
That's Bidenomics. It did not go down.
Well,
I'm 900 less this month than I was last year the same month.
I also wonder if this is like more because I'm not really in the field. So I'm curious about your like feedback on this. Maybe it's not like, oh, it's great that like 4,000 there's 4,000 new churches, but it's also like maybe the reason why churches are closing is maybe they just need to stick to where the churches are already open and then mature it, and then when it's time to expand, then expand or branch out.
I am attempting to help some larger denominations. One that we know of that had 35 locations in greater Phoenix area,
Mm-hmm.
and they had 35 buildings, and only one of them was open. So that really means that 34 are closed.
Exactly.
If we look at it without Bidenomics, And so I told them, how can we help you go back to those buildings, because they're most likely in a neighborhood. And if you open the doors, people will come, because people do not want to drive too far nowadays. They're calling it skate or cycle.
Absolutely.
They can skate or cycle to a church. They will go to that church. And so we're asking them, how can we help partner with you to open those churches? Not build a new one. We're doing a pastors conference in Austin in September, and I've talked to the pastor, because he's in a building program, because he's growing. And I asked him, I go, wouldn't it be cool if you could look at your zip codes and go out about 10 miles and find a church building that you could buy, and those people that are driving in that extra 10 miles could
Mm-hmm.
stop there, save on their budget, and you do a simulcast to that building.
Exactly.
Because, if you're looking at, people say, well, I don't like video venues. I go, well, most people are buying into it because a lot of people are using their handheld devices, streaming things. That's a video venue.
Oh, 100%.
And if you're getting the same message. So I just told them, I go, why don't you think about buying another building instead of building? Because I tell you what, purchasing another building is a lot cheaper than adding on to your existing. So what else do we got? Because churches, hey, there's also in Pakistan, there's mobs burning churches over the claims that there was blasphemy. And I get it. I mean, you've got a different respect. The Muslims want a different respect for Muhammad.
Yeah.
Than Jesus Christ gets. And Jesus Christ has been a name that's been synonymous of being kicked around.
Mm-hmm.
And Christians seem not to stand up for that.
Well, I think what I tend to do, and it's been happening for a couple of years now, is like whenever anyone like insults like my faith, I just like commit arson.
Yeah.
It's what I do now. That's a joke, government.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we're getting ready to drop a episode, and it's going to be one where there's a group of people in the LGBTQ plus community, they're drag queens, that are having a drag queen Christmas, and it's nothing but sexualizing Christmas. That's all it's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just saying not in this small town.
Yeah.
Where we have little things to say about it. So one of the suggestions, we gave was call it Winter Pride.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't take anybody else's religious figure, like Jesus is ours.
They wouldn't do drag Hanukkah. They wouldn't do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just certain things they're not going to do. And they're even wrong saying, it's like, but we're going to share with the group. Why don't you just call it a Winter Pride?
Exactly.
You don't have to call it a drag queen Christmas. You're sexualizing Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas is Christ Mass. We're doing a celebration for Christ.
Exactly.
And they're just like, oh no, we're gonna
ruin this.
Yeah. We're gonna give it a different look.
And to clarify, we really don't care. It's like literally the name and the holiday that they're
That's it.
insulting.
I mean, call it, do your thing.
You can call it drag birthday. I don't know.
We don't care. Just don't call it drag queen Christmas.
Or drag Easter. Don't do that either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. This is something that I think is a big deal because California and our governor want to be the new communist representation.
They're doing a good job with that.
Yeah, they are. They want to be Chinafornia, and they're doing things, our governor is, to help that happen. And one of the things that they're doing is we've all seen these mob burglaries, and it's interesting. This one was in Woodland Hills. We just had another one just a couple nights ago. But it's where dozens of burglars swarm into a upper end retail store, high end, and they just steal stuff. And they're getting away with a lot of stuff. $100,000. I think the latest one was like maybe $500,000.
What's the chat room for that? How do I get a hold of this?
I don't know. I mean, we had a instance of people that were driving down on Fisherman's Wharf, breaking into cars. They broke into one where there was somebody sitting in the back seat. They were just stealing handbags, and there's no fear of punitive punishment. There's none.
I'm just gonna say Tennessee is constitutional
Looks better.
conceal and open carry. And do you think that would fly in Tennessee?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. When probably one in five people are packing heat.
Yes. So there's a major supermarket with 165 locations. That's a very prominent business.
Do you know which supermarket it is? Is it Walmart or Target or?
They didn't say it, in the article.
Of course they didn't.
They just don't. I mean, it's just part of this because they don't want to say, hey, it's your supermarket. But they're saying they're going to close their door after reporting more than 500,000 lost to shoplifting. It's like you and I talked about a while back. Well, now that, there's laws that says, you don't have to pay. Don't stop them. In California, we have those great laws. And so there's got to be a line that at least reduces the inventory on what you took. Go through that line.
Yeah.
Let us
Express line.
Let us scan your stuff so we can restock it so you can come steal it again.
Exactly.
It's nonsense.
It's like the guy that he had it was back when the PS4 was like brand new or like newer. Like he weighed the PS4 and paid for it in the amount of like of a fruit or something like that. So it's like he paid like maybe like $30 for it.
Well, it just like it makes no sense. So we had hundreds of government employees in San Francisco, the star capital of Chinafornia, told to work from home due to the high levels of crime in the area. Where's the area? San Francisco. Then employees inside Nancy Pelosi's federal building in San Francisco were told to work from home as crime skyrockets. Is that an oxymoron or what?
And it's like back to COVID. They're like, yeah, just work from home. It's fine. Oh, just kidding. Don't. Oh, wait, no, there's crime now. Let's not fix the crime. Just work from home.
Yes. Well, Well, it's so funny because as we know that the Biden criminal syndicate is doing well, you also have the Jerry Brown criminal syndicate where, you get the relatives that are continuing to run the state of California. And so as you look at these same results, hello.
I think they're doing a great job. This is my opinion.
If you want a socialistic state, stay in California, let it be run the way it should be. But there's some good news. There is some good news. I think our next article brings that up too. We do know that California legislatures, Republican, are scoring some points because some people are fed up in their area of this, and they're voting some Republicans in. So
that's good.
Good job, California State Legislature. So it's one of those things. It's funny. I do like Governor Abbott's reply to an Australian girl that mocks the United States flag. She's just saying that there's a lot of versions of it, and she's seeing them everywhere. So she's like, hey, enough of the American flag. You know what Governor Abbott said? Because she's from
Go back to Australia.
Yeah, she's from Australia. So he said, go back to Australia. Hey, whoever you are, if you don't like the country, get out.
Well, what's also funny is that she has the right to say that in the United States because that's free speech. There's little to no rights in most of these other countries that come off like they're free. But they have hate speech laws. They had the gun buyback in Australia, so it's like you're not free over there.
Well, if you want to stay in America and you want to see less American flags, move to California.
Yeah, it's practically a different country.
It's like, right on.
Get me out of here.
I love it. And Mike, there again, I mean, we'll probably get banned on some platforms, and
I give it like a year and a half, 2 years.
But we can still say it while
Exactly.
we're here. So.
We still got free speech while it lasts.
Yes, it does.
Better use it.
Is there a quota?
Yeah, we have a free speech quota. If we don't use it, it gets revoked.
Hey, we're glad you tuned in. Alex, I enjoyed just sitting down.
I did too. It's fun to be in the chair.
I love your sense of humor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm going, where are we going? We always come back.
There's no knowing where we're going.
Hey, our boss was watching today. Mike, thanks for letting us have the seat unsupervised.
Oh, yeah.
Like and subscribe.
All right. God bless.